Obbies on Roblox fall into many categories. There's towers, difficulty chart obbies, tiered obbies, and the bad obbies.
Bruh.
But over the years, obbies have evolved drastically, from looking like this to now looking like some sort of art piece. Among all obbies on Roblox, there are a couple that stand out. These obbies are some of the most detailed, creative, and advanced gameplay obbies on the entirety of the site. I'm going to show you some popular massive obbies with incredible gameplay, down to underrated cave obbies with the most unbelievable atmosphere and design, like Vitrification. Vitrification, made by Thunbeg, has over 200 jumps, all mostly being yank, which is an obby style where all of the bricks are oriented in unnatural positions, so you already know Vitrification is filled with creative jumps. The obby includes notable spots like spheres that appear once in a while, consisting of linear gameplay. The obby itself is themed after the Portal 2 Chapter 6 map. Thunbeg has spent over 170 hours in total on building this obby, and it's not even finished yet, but already looks incredible. Vitrification has one of the greatest uses of atmosphere on any obby on Roblox, and the design using terrain is very creative and extremely hard to do and perfect like Thunbeg has. Building with terrain requires smoothing out every single spot to avoid skips, and Thunbeg is the only current obby builder that I know that can build using it. When Vitrification is officially completed, it's going to be very difficult and probably no one will ever beat it. But an obby that is difficult but could encounter a victor one day is Stairway to Heaven. Stairway to Heaven is a really long tier 19 obby. With around 200 jumps, it would take over 20 minutes to beat if you were to land every single jump. This masterpiece of an obby has been verified multiple times by hobbyists like Zorloth, obviously on practice mode where you can place checkpoints. Stairway to Heaven is a mega collab featuring some of the greatest obby builders and players on Roblox, like Undistanced, Khan 2005, Roko Rocks U, Vipsum, Macalads, and Regionality. The obby took over 4 months to build and perfect. This obby came out in 2020 with some of the most unique and advanced gameplay that Roblox has ever seen. It's estimated that if you were an average Tower of Hell obbyist, each jump would take you about an hour to do. With over 230,000 visits, this is also the most popular obby on this list. This obby is also considered as the final test for hobbyists. No one has ever beat it yet, but a time will definitely come. One example is with Marcus Terry, a cheater, who beat multiple obbies beforehand and ended with Stairway to Heaven to eventually admit that he had been using replayability.
And well, this whole time, we've been using something called replayability that I made.
Honestly, if you want to be extremely respected in the obbying community, simply beat Stairway to Heaven. Now, we've covered amazing obbies like Vitrification and Stairway to Heaven for their design, creativity, and gameplay. But this next obby is not really known for those reasons. Being the current longest obby on Roblox, DEVOID is yet another obby masterpiece. As I said, DEVOID is the current longest single stage obby. With over 2,000 jumps in total, this obby should definitely be mentioned on the list. With almost every jump you could imagine, the diversity in this obby is immaculate. The obby is separated in 7 sections as followed. First part, second part, prison, side A, side B, the big C, the final stretch. The original place of the obby was made in 2022, after being moved to a new one in 2023. This was around 1/4 of the obby in. First, the obby was started by this guy, who I'll just call Norific, because that's the name of his YouTube channel. At first, it was a solo project. Just imagine making over 2,000 jumps all by yourself. Until eventually, a guy called Gio took ownership of the obby, which turned into a collab, as well as another guy called Illusion joining, and these 3 guys worked on the first 1400 jumps of the obby, which is insane if you really think about it. And then, for the last 600 jumps, builders and playtesters Futuristic Garbage, Solorial, Compact Decisions, DEVOID, Bloxy Cuber, and Obby Boy also joined. DEVOID is tier 17 and has roughly 3 to 5 hours of gameplay.
The whole idea of DEVOID came from when I was watching a video on some difficulty chart obby, and I remember seeing a stage that really stuck out to me. I forgot exactly how it looked, but it had this eerie, mysterious kind of vibe that prompted me to build something that felt similar. And when I finished building it, I was really satisfied with the length, but I felt like I could build more. At one point, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this the longest tiered obby in the world, and I named it DEVOID.
We have already covered an obby with immaculate design and atmosphere, an obby with incredible gameplay and jumps, and an obby with sheer length. But have you ever seen a beautiful obby with a deep meaning, like Misplaced in Time? Misplaced in Time, made by Vipsim and Obby Boy, is an extremely beautiful and long obby with diverse gameplay. This obby was a project started a really long time ago. It was originally planned to be a Yang sequel to Stairway to Heaven, the obby we mentioned before, but it got abandoned until Vipsim came back to it and invited Obby Boy to help. This obby is based off the album Everywhere at the End of Time, specifically the song called Misplaced in Time, therefore the name, which is an experimental music project that explores the progression of dementia. The obby is also meant to resemble dementia, starting off with normal linear jumps, and the further on the obby goes, the more yank and weird the jumps become. Misplaced in Time took months to make, and has hundreds of jumps just like the obbies before this. This obby idea of a declining gameplay style is insanely creative, and I'm glad this sort of amazing idea came from great builders like Vipsim. The last and final obby on this list is undoubtedly the most iconic one. It's known for its insane difficulty and infamous floors. Being the only tower on this list, you might have already guessed what it is. And of course, it's Citadel of Void. Citadel of Void is a nil difficulty or tier 24 obby. It used to be in JTO Ring 1, but it was removed due to being actually humanly impossible. It has 22 floors and too many jumps to count. It is a mega collab featuring these people, and it would take around 2 hours to beat. Its hardest floor being floor 21, of which the purest part, which is the part with no client objects like lava and spinners, is made into a tiered obby called Purest Hell, which is tier 18 or 19. Now just think about how crazy that is for a second. Only one small section of one floor in a 22 floor obby is harder than Stairway to Heaven itself. Other towers like Tower of Eternal Void were created, which is basically the first 10 floors of Citadel of Void just nerfed to be humanly possible. And Citadel of Infinite Void, which includes the last 12 floors of Citadel of Void, but nerfed to Unreal difficulty. This Citadel is extremely punishing. Just imagine somehow making it past 20 grueling floors to end up in the most difficult one, near the very end. And that's exactly what makes it so iconic and interesting.